A flagship mirrorless camera can be expected from Nikon within the year. This is the headline that woke me up this morning, 3 hours after I posted this video over here. Nikon, in conjunction with DP Review, have announced the fact that the flagship camera is coming. This is super exciting news. Let's explore what DP Review have learnt from Nikon. And this is officially not rumours. So this video that you can see here, where I asked towards the end of the video, please, Nikon, give us some information about what we can expect, because there are some people teeter-tottering on the edge of moving to other systems. Now, I know that Nikon wasn't reacting to me specifically, but literally a few hours later, this article is published on DP Review. Now, this article's come about by way of emails going between Nikon and DP Review to ask these questions and get these answers. The headline feature for me is that Nikon is working on a D6 replacement, but this D6 replacement will be able to video in 8K. So 8K prescribes a certain size sensor, somewhere 33 megapixels and above, perhaps 45 megapixels, perhaps 50 megapixels, where both Canon in the R5 and Sony in the A1 sit to get 8K. They also get super high frame rates. Is this now basically the benchmark? Is this what the D6 will basically become? It's a high pixel, high frame rate, high 8K video machine. And again, to reiterate, so everybody is 100% clear, this is from Nikon. This information, this is not rumors. We will see the high-end flagship camera from Nikon this year. Let me read the exact wording so no one can be confused. Within the year. Now, I read that as in within the year 2021, and we are already in March, so we have a maximum of 9 months to wait. I do hope it's not that long, but the reality is it's here and it's coming. Let's dive into some of the details. DP Review were talking with Keiji Oishi, who is the department manager of Nikon's imaging unit. So really, there's no more important person to talk about in regards to what Nikon are up to. I'd like to read here the question that was asked: how far away is a mirrorless equivalent to the D6? The answer from Nikon was a flagship Nikon Z mirrorless camera can be expected within the year, and is being developed with the goal of surpassing the D6. It will respond to the advanced needs of professionals. The upcoming model will debut a newly developed high-resolution stacked CMOS sensor. While this camera will be a major technological leap for still photographers and a wide variety of genres, our engineers are considering powerful video features such as 8K that respond to the needs of all kinds of content creators and professionals. So from my perspective, this is super critical because the 8K lets us know roughly what the sensor size is. Also, the fact that they're talking about a stacked CMOS sensor, that lets us know that it's probably something that either Sony will make, so perhaps they're using the Sony sensors that are in the A1, or perhaps Nikon, as they released a couple of weeks ago, are designing their own sensors, which perhaps Sony will fabricate. It is also possible that someone else will fabricate these sensors for them. Nikon basically consider that 8K is an important part of Nikon's future, and that this is basically what the expectation is. And of course, that is exactly right, because Canon and Sony have both thrown down the 8K gauntlet. But from my perspective, someone who is interested in making high quality images, and that includes moving and stills, 8K from my perspective would be fine. I'd be very happy to have an 8K potential for certain types of video capturing. Nikon are also touching on here the fact that the gap between stills and video capture has become absolutely razor thin at this point, and they specifically talk about the fact that they want to create a camera where photographers can frame grab from the video. So essentially we're reaching a point which I talked about in a video about 18 months ago, where video and raw video will reach such a point that it doesn't replace it, but it's also another way or another opportunity of collecting still images. So in this camera we basically have the convergence of high-speed video and high-speed photography, 35 to 50 megapixels and potentially above in the future. But again, Nikon's head of imaging is talking about how they want to give this feature to us, that you will be able to frame grab from video and use it. And obviously Nikon's partnership with Blackmagic and with Atomos delivering B-RAW to the Z6 and the Z7, there's no reason to see why B-RAW will not be added to a high-end camera. Imagine B-RAW 8K. But again, at this stage, he does reiterate that they're still deciding exactly what will be going on from a video perspective. But Nikon, if you're listening, do the 8K because your competitors are, and it's better from a marketing perspective. Nikon also reiterate that they continue to want to create cameras that are absolutely built for professionals and can be taken into whatever conditions we want to throw at it. So that is important to Nikon still, with them finishing this statement by saying our products can even withstand the rigors of operation in space. That's pretty cool. You can't get better than that. Nikon also reiterate, and I'm not 100% clear on the timing in here, but they plan to have 30 lenses. So this is slightly more lenses that are on the roadmap as of right now. They're also saying the roadmap is most likely to be updated very soon, but 30 lenses, I'm guessing they're saying by the end of 2022. I think off the top of my head, this is an increase of 3 or 4 lenses on the current roadmap. So this means there is a couple more lenses yet to come out onto the roadmap. Perhaps these are some of the lenses that everybody has been asking for. Of course, we look very forward to just seeing some physical new lenses, not lenses just sitting on a roadmap. But again, 30 lenses by the end of 2022, I think that's an outstanding effort. Also, they talk a little bit about the Z mount and the fact that it's allowing for them to create new designs in lenses. And they have only just begun to push the envelope on that front. When asked about how important is video, well, they remind us that Nikon actually was the first camera manufacturer to stick video in a consumer stills camera. Of course, they did this with the D90. That was pretty quickly overshadowed by what Canon did, but to reiterate, Nikon were the first all those years ago. Video continues to be an important part of their strategy, and of course, as I just mentioned, the partnership that they have with Blackmagic, allowing you to use B-RAW and DaVinci Resolve, this is all fantastic pro level stuff. The fact that we have 4K 60 in the Z6 II and the Z7 II, this is all showing their commitment to video. Also, he reiterates that they are deliberately creating their lenses without focus breathing so that they will be useful for video makers. This is not an accident, this is a very deliberate move. And I have to say, because I am using my Nikon Z cameras probably just as much for video as I am for stills, these are fabulous cameras to use for video. And as we can see right now, the look here on the Z6, the original, which is now very affordable, and the 50mm 1.8S, both very affordable pieces of equipment, yet give you outstanding outcomes at a very entry-level opportunity. This is fantastic stuff. Another little interesting tidbit, which was something that I theorized on, that the Pancake 28mm and 40mm lens were actually designed with the DX cameras in mind. In summation of all of this information from Nikon, their plans are definitely to release a high-end body this year, to continue to create great optics, and to bring roughly 30 lenses. Now, what's unclear to me in reading this is whether it's by the end of this year or the end of next year. So I think they're saying here it's 30 lenses roughly by the end of next year. Also, they state here that they are going to create optics which are unique to the Z mount. Thus, they will be planning, as I've said in the past, on leveraging the Z mount to create lenses that we haven't seen before. This is a very exciting statement from my perspective. And of course, they continue to want to create optics which exceed our expectations. And that's certainly my experience with the 10 or so Z lenses that I already own. They also make note here about the fact with the expansion of the 5G network around the world, that is going to increase the need for video sensor, video camera technology, which they see expanding business opportunities. So again, this is something I've talked about in the past, that by creating new sensors and robotics, which they're also working on as well, they are going to create products that are outside of the consumer camera world, but this is going to expand Nikon's business, which is all about Nikon the company, and anything that's good for the company is good for us, the consumer camera users. Again, as I've said before, if they're making sensors, high-tech sensors for other applications, the research and development that they apply to creating these new products, all of this will continue to advance also in the consumer camera division. Ultimately, for me, the fact that we have such a senior member of the Nikon team telling us directly what Nikon are thinking, where Nikon are going, what's happening here. We will have a flagship camera this year. I don't think there's anything really else for us to worry about. As is stated in their financial reports, they are going to be in profit as of next financial year, which starts in just 3 weeks' time. I think for anybody to continue to be stating the end is nigh for Nikon, they do risk, and with all due respect, they do risk not having looked at all the data that's available at this point in time. Companies are very complex beasts. Nikon have got a lot going on. I haven't talked about probably 80% of what is in this article. You should go and look at it for yourself, because there's a lot there about the restructuring of the factories and the fact that they're still going to be using the Japanese factories, but they're going to be doing parts instead of entire cameras. There's just a lot of information in here that is indicating a company that is working very hard to get their structure in the right place for the 2021s and beyond, and they are creating great robust technologies, creating a foundation with the Z mount and with fantastic optics which we've seen to date, like the 1.8 primes, like the Holy Trinity, like the 50mm 1.2. All of these lenses and more are spectacular. They totally meet expectations. There's not a single lens that I have purchased so far that hasn't met my expectations and exceeded it. It's absolutely true, to be honest. These things are fantastic. We will continue to have naysayers out there, and that's completely fine, but from my perspective, we've got a very clear understanding of the road ahead. And if you are an F-mount user and deciding whether you want to go Canon or Sony or whatever else, well, Nikon have told us that I would suggest within the next 6 to 9 months, that flagship camera that's going to exceed the D6 in speed and AF and all of those sorts of things, along with probably having 8K and along with probably having somewhere between 35 and 45, maybe even 50 megapixels. If you're true to your sentiment and you're true to your love of Nikon, well, it's coming, and I suggest start saving up for it. And in the meantime, your D500 and your D850, which is not even the full 4 years old yet, so it has not even reached the end of its life cycle. And when I say reach the end of its life cycle, what I mean by that is Nikon normally upgrade these cameras every 4 years. Well, the D850 is not due for its upgrade until I think it's something like September of this year. And lo and behold, by the sounds of it, this camera, which will meet both the D6 market and the D850 market, and potentially the D500 market if you're prepared to buy a camera and then crop it DX, It'll do the job. Yes, you'll pay more for it, but otherwise wait, because that other camera will come. Basically, everybody's needs will be answered with this camera on time relative to when the D850 hits its 4-year cycle. And it's just a matter of whether you want to spend the money or wait for your specific camera to arrive. The D6 was always this price. Yes, it'll be an expensive D850 replacement, but gosh, if it's between the R5 and the A1 in specifications, it's a monster camera. Thank you so much for being here today. I would love to know your thoughts. Amazing news, and I'm sorry it's another video so quickly, but this is just simply what happened. Basically, about 4 hours after I released my last video, this information was made live by DP Review. Nothing more that I can do than get it out as soon as possible. Please let me know in the comments below your thoughts about all of this. It is super exciting stuff. And check the article out. There is a ton of information in there that I have not touched on. And there's so much that you can glean from this. So it's well worth a read. And this is from not for just Nikon users, but for everybody interested in the photographic industry and interested in companies and interested in how they tick and interested in any of that sort of stuff. It's a good read, and it'll help for those who question Nikon's future. Have a read. I strongly implore that you have a read. I'll put the link below. If this is your first time here, I would love to see you again, so please do subscribe. Please share this video and like. It's super helpful for the channel. There is over 300 episodes that you can watch right now if you just look down there. And I'll see you very soon. I really look forward to your thoughts. Bye for now.